Alright guys, welcome back to RockCrawlinJeeps. Still waiting on some parts for this mess. Yeah, my house is destroyed. So, we're going to work on this TJ today. Progressive 3.5 inch Metalcloak coils, which are absolutely massive for only 3.5 inches of lift. So that's going to be kind of cool to see how that settles out. And since somebody likes to run into rocks and other things, a fresh drag link for the Currie system. So we're gonna get everything swapped out and changed over, and then we got some new tires going on, all sorts of stuff. We'll do a review on those later, but I'll be happy to get this thing off of mismatched tires and do all that kind of stuff, because he's been borrowing this worn out BFG from me for like 6 months. So let's get to it. Now, I know this seems like one of our favorite tools, because it kind of is, but we've got to see what's gonna cause this thing. So right there. So we're gonna have to undo our shock, because that's limiting our travel. So the coil is just at that point where it's not quite unseated, but we can undo that shock. I think we'll be just fine. All right, so now that we've got the Jeep supported, the tire out of the way, we do have a jack on there just so we could get that tire off. So now we will lower that just a little bit. Let that axle droop all the way out. I'm going to leave the jack up just so something is there. Then we're going to try and get this coil out, which may be more difficult than we think. I think the easiest way to do this is actually going to be to undo the shock. Okay. Take it right out. Here's our coil spring difference. As you can see, it's definitely quite drastic. So here's the fun part about this. And this is what I want to talk about. So, and this is why I'm such a big proponent of long arms and like the arc of travel. So this normally wouldn't be too big a deal to get in there. But Dylan, if you show him right here, show this angle. Come from the side, come from right where my hand is. Okay. You see how the coil spring post is actually off center of that now. And that's because the arc of travel on short arms is actually down and back, because they can't account for that. They're not long enough to travel in a much smoother arc. So the arc is much more drastic, as opposed to my long arms, where that doesn't quite pull back as much. It's still going to go down and back, but it's not nearly as drastic as that control arm angle that we're seeing here. So this might be really fun, and we might have to disconnect a bunch of crap. So we'll let's just see. What do you think? I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, it might be a tight fit.
All right, cool. We're done. So we decided to play a little Russian roulette today and go rent a spring compressor. Here we are. We obviously didn't show the process of putting it on, but it's pretty simple. You want them opposite each other. We used our impact, and we just did equal distances up until it was compressed, so we didn't arch out the spring. Now we get to do a little bit more gambling and try and take it off. So I'm going to grab the right tool and I'll be right back.
We used the coil spring compressor, got it in. As you can tell, my shocks are a little short at the moment. These are 2.5 inch Old Man Emu shocks, same with the springs. It ran great for years. As you can tell here, we're gonna get to it later, but look how bent this bar is on my steering. So while we're replacing it, why not give my steering a little bit more breathing room and swap to these new coils?
So there's the side-by-side.
Yeah. So we may end up putting it on the press and straightening it out for a spare. I mean, it's Currie. It's lasted 5+ years under here. But to get brand new tires and not do a proper alignment does not make sense. So while we're here, new springs, give it a little more breathing room. As you can see here, I've been chewing up the tire rod just because I don't have enough lift. And that's why we're knocking this out today. All right, guys, we're just getting the shock bolted back up here. Really nothing to it there. We just lowered it down with the farm jack, and I'm going to bolt it back up. Like I mentioned in the last clip, I do need longer shocks for this setup, but for today I'm fine with running the Old Man Emu coils, or excuse me, this shocks. You know, I'm getting it ready for winter. I'm not going to do a whole lot of wheeling probably, so having it safe on the road is what is important. So these will work for a few weeks, and then Zach may have some laying around here in the shop we may upgrade to.
Yeah, and if I'm not lazy all winter and I get my 1 tons done, we're definitely wheeling. Like, I want to go snow wheeling with 1 tons. So let's see what we can do. All right, so as you can see, and we'll try and get, if Dylan comes right here, you can kind of see that tilt in her. We definitely have a fair amount more or less clearance on this side, more on that side, and that's exactly what we're after. And for those that don't understand exactly what a progressive rate coil is, take a look at this, and we may put the high lift over here and show you, but this is completely collapsed. So what'll happen is when the suspension travels, that spring is going to expand and that second rate is going to come out and keep pressure. So what this allows is a more even pressure throughout the travel of the suspension, unlike a traditional coil spring where, well, you get what you get. The spring's generally about the same height regardless, and you become unseated, and then there's nothing pushing that axle down to gain that traction. So now, throughout the entire arc of travel, this is going to have constant down pressure, allowing more traction to be had. Even more traction once this thing gets some long arms in the future, hopefully. So let's...
We'll see about that.
Hey, if he goes 1 ton, we got to go long arms. You can't do 1 tons in short arms. It's dumb. All right, so that's it for the Metalcloak 3.5 progressive coil install. I just want to point out we are not a progressive channel, but dad jokes, I'm still getting them in. But no, seriously, coil springs are in, everything looks awesome, shocks are back in and buttoned up. We're gonna upgrade the shocks on this thing. I've got a set of Bilsteins laying in the garage that are just a little bit longer, but we have to get a few things lined up, some bar peen eliminators and things like that, and then we'll get these ready to go, get it a little bit more flex for that off-road winter season. Tires are getting replaced. This thing's gonna be a whole new Jeep. So, well, that does it for that. And what do you say? Steering upgrade time?
Yeah.
Or not even upgrade, just like fix.
Steering replacement, yeah.
Yeah, steering repair time. So we're gonna get the anti-rock hooked back up on the other side, and then we're gonna swap out that drag link. All right, welcome back to RockCrawlinJeeps midday steering. No, I'm just kidding. So we've gotten everything loosened up on the drag link here. Now it's time for my favorite part, where if you've never done this, this is a super easy trick for getting tie rods out of the knuckles. So what we'll do is we'll come in here on the knuckle and you just give it a couple good whacks and it'll drop out. Keyword being a couple good. And we fall right out. So now we've got everything else loosened up. We'll go ahead and give this a few whacks, get that to pop out. We're gonna be in a good spot. And we're out there. We're good to go. So now we'll drop it out, thread it out, replace it. We got the old drag link pulled out, and you can see it's got a pretty obvious bow in it. But we discovered something else when we took it apart. And that's that these nuts that hold our bracket on for the steering stabilizer, which I want to point out is 100% not needed on correct steering setups. Steering stabilizers do not fix death wobble. They do not cause death wobble. They are merely a comfort thing. So now that we've gotten past that, we're going to fix our bracket for the steering stabilizer just by flap wheeling off the top of this, cleaning it up so we can thread it out and we can get it bolted back up. You can see it did a little bit of self-clearancing down here on the tie rod.
Lots of years.
But everything's still in good shape. That's a solid bar from Currie, so we're not super concerned about that. So that said, we're going to get this cleaned up and we're going to get it bolted back together. Just working this on, being careful not to damage the threads. We got everything loosened up. Now we're just going to get it knocked into place. We'll be good to go. And we'll use our old bar to kind of get an idea of exactly where this needs to be placed. And then we'll dial it in once we get everything kind of back to where we're thinking we need to be.
And this is only temporary. I'm going to be getting a professional machine alignment within the next week. So just to have it set where it was, that'll be fine, and then they can fine-tune it from there.
that wraps it up for today. We got rid of this thing. So we've now, we got a straight one of these. Drag link tie rod, something 8 point something gigawatts, whatever. So we got rid of this, and steering's all fixed up, getting some fresh tires this week, doing an alignment, getting everything ready to go for winter, trying to get this rig back into shape so Dylan has a decent daily. I know I don't even agree with dailying Jeeps. I think it's a terrible idea.
It's my only vehicle here, and I don't know if you can see this, but winter is already up in the mountains. So
Yeah,
2 weeks, 3 weeks, it'll be here in the valley.
yeah, it's already snowing. Like, we were at Oktoberfest yesterday, drinking beer in the snow. It's a good time. But this thing is getting closer and closer to being ready to go for winter. Thank everybody so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Get us to 1,000. We're almost there. Who knows?
860, I think.
We may try and do something rad for our 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm not promising anything because we're a bunch of broke YouTubers, and we'll see what we can manage. But we might try and do something cool. I don't know what it'll be. But yeah, we're going to see what we can do. We appreciate you watching the content. Let us know what more you want. Let us know what we can be doing. I mean, I don't know what more you can do than 2 1-ton Grands. And I don't know, we're talking about a WJ swap over here, trying to get the better brakes and the steering. And because I was already getting ready to do it to mine when I fell into 1-tons, I have most all the parts sitting on a shelf. So maybe a quick trip to the junkyard, some calipers, rotors, and we have pretty much everything else. So we're going to see what we can't do. Maybe we'll get this thing rare parts equipped, get it pretty baller. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.